Nigeria's Ogun State postponed its own lockdown until Friday, and I have Remmy Hassan, who is the special advisor for public communications to the governor of Ogun State, and he joins me online, to give us an update on what's happening with Ogun State. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today, Remmy, and I'd like to understand, why is Ogun State holding back?
Thank you very much for having me. Really and truly, we anticipated that a lockdown is imminent, and we're doing our own bit to prepare for it. We didn't factor in the fact that a superior power from the presidency, which of course is empowered under the law to do so, will come ahead of us to order this lockdown. So when it happened, part of the palliative we're preparing, especially for the poor of the poor amongst our people, so that they will be able to support themselves in the course of the lockdown, could be put in place. And we thought of all these. A number of our people who earn and eke out a living on a daily basis. So locking them in there and not providing for them to be able to feed well in the course of the lockdown will amount to an insensitive decision by government. So this much was presented to the presidency, and a few days moratorium was granted. So for us as a state, we have not recorded a high incidence of COVID-19 yet, but because we are vulnerable. But we have 4 more days so that government can prepare for the poor of the poor and those who are yet to stock up to go through this period of palliative can also do the same in the circumstance. That, in essence, is why we have some few more days to get things done. However, our land borders to other states, as well as the international boundary we have with the Republic of Benin, has also been shut down. Nobody comes into Ogun State. The movement for now is within the state.
All right, but are we seeing any panic buying from residents in Ogun State? Because we understand, the implications of a lockdown and what it will mean for families and households, like you rightly mentioned.
Can you say that again so that I can hear you a bit clearly?
Yeah, so I was asking, are we seeing any panic buying, any last-minute rush to get supplies and foodstuff from residents in Ogun State?
Yeah, we experienced that yesterday, but as soon as the extension of days was announced, it lessened a lot. And this may have been a right step in the right direction. Although there are those who believe that the more we delay to shut down, the more we expose the people. But at the same time, we just have to bring all of reasons onto the table and take the decision that is in the best interest of a greater number.
All right, because we understand that a new case was announced today from Ogun State, a confirmed case by the NCDC today in Ogun State. I'd like to also you to speak to this point as well as also address, the efforts made by the state to do contact tracing.
Thank you. We just rose from a press conference where the new case was announced. Is actually a contact of third case. We've had 4 cases in Ogun State. The first case is the very first in Nigeria, which is an Italian 44-year-old male who, in the course of his transacting business within our state, one of his contacts, 40 of them were traced though, one of his contacts was exposed. But both of them now, the first and the second, I have been discharged from the hospital because they responded well to treatment, and they are no longer in any form of isolation. They are no longer going through any other treatment. They are well now. The third case, which was a returnee from the United Kingdom, was last week. This fourth one is a contact of the third case. So it simply means that we have 2 clusters now. The cluster of the Italian index case and the cluster of this third and fourth, whereas all the contacts around them have all been traced and they've been tested. A lot of the tests have returned negative. The few that returned positive are the ones that we have announced so far. That means that the likelihood of importation of the virus into our state will witness a downward trend because of this border closure. However, we're still up and running because community spreading is what the entire nation is up against at this time.
All right, but I'd like to also understand what the level of support you've seen from the private sector in Ogun State.
In terms of support, the corporate citizens and indigenous and stakeholders, both in the Nigerian project and the Ogun State project, have given us quite a lot of support. For federal government, it is based on the request each state makes that will determine the help they get. We haven't made any request yet. We've been managing within the limits of available resources. It then doesn't mean that we're not going to ask. Any moment from now, we may be asking. All of what we have put in place now are things that are largely unoccupied. We have about 300 bed spaces ready and fitted with all the equipment, but there are nobody occupying them. That doesn't mean that we're not going to need them, but it is better to have them and not need them than to eventually need them and not have them. So we are prepared. We have spent quite a lot on our own. At the time that we will need further help from the federal government, we will definitely be making requests from the federal government.